People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
NUP.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
NUP.
I don't know whether I'm still a youth. I'm a senior youth. Yes, I am a senior youth because the law says 35 and I am 36. So I am now that senior youth. But I am also in acquaintance with the youth activities given the historical background from university time. I have been lucky a little that I have spent most of my youthful time fighting on the side of the oppressed. And that puts you who are seated here in the same shoes I was 15 years ago, those of you who are 20. This is very inspiring, by the way. It is very inspiring, and I want to take this opportunity to thank the National Unity Platform, the birth of the National Unity Platform, and the People Power movement to this country, because it awakened the young people to a different direction, from the direction of happiness, from the direction of disco, from the direction of all those other things associated with having fun, to being fascinated with the idea of overthrowing the dictator, but most importantly, being in charge of your destiny for the future of our country. I want to thank the availability of this platform, and therefore ask you join me to give a big applause to our generational president, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, because it is his rise, it is his rise, it is his decision to stand. For a very long time, there has been a big problem in the politics of Uganda. Those who have had the opportunity to go through school find it so hard after that investment of education, the hope that is put into the children at school of going back and having those white-collar jobs, of having that good life, of driving the Porsche cars, of having the good families. It becomes extremely risky after they have painted such a beautiful picture for your future as you're finishing your last paper in class to come and join the struggle. The young people in this on this platform, you who are here today, I want to tell you how much humbled I am that you took that pivotal step. Those at university, those that have just finished university, and those that are still lingering in town with your degrees, but decided that let us use this time to redeem our country. I can tell you, you will not regret the job you're doing and the part you're playing. It looks very far-fetched sometimes when you start anything. Everything you start will always be far-fetched. What propels you is the commitment to what you've started. If you're committed to what you've started, I can tell you, you will have the results you desire. You will fall, but when you fall, the power of you lifting yourself up, the power of you dusting yourself off, and the power of you transcending to your trajectory is what should always move you as young people. It has worked across all the divide internationally, it has worked locally, it even works to your personal belief. Many of you had a dream, and the dream was to meet Bobi Wine, a person who was going to be president. And somebody would sit in their room and say, I wish I get the opportunity to meet Bobi Wine. You started the journey of being committed to meeting Bobi Wine. Many of you have met Bobi Wine, not so? How many have not met him personally? Put up your hand. If you have not met him personally, put up your hand. Yes, Honorable, stand up again. You are the honorable member I had in Parliament. You have not met him personally, but have you met him in a group? Yeah, you see? Now, it is commitment. But you go back home and you ask somebody, you tell somebody that you are with Bobi Wine, and they will not agree. Because they have not been committed to meeting him. So the goal you set is the goal you achieve. If you set a goal that is below your pedestal, it is what you will achieve. Why do they say dreamers are achievers? Dreamers are achievers because they put a picture that they don't have into what they want to have. And then they chase that dream. Let us chase the dream as young people of ousting Dictator Museveni. I can guarantee you, my brothers and sisters, once it is our set goal, once it is our dream, then we will be the achievers. And we can only be the achievers when we have the result. What is the result? Defeating the dictator. We don't need politicians. Our numbers are clear. The reason there is human resource decapacitation in Uganda is because the young people have not been given a platform to blossom. There has been too much delay of the past generation to cover our generation. That is why I've been excited by the theme, the international theme, that talks about transgenerational solidarity. The theme of Uganda speaks about social, political, economic injustices. It is only in Uganda that the government, that the rogue government, has failed to plan for its young people, and yet it had an opportunity. General Museveni should put his name to the wall of shame and blame only himself for having failed to plan for young people 36 years ago. He cannot raise up today and point a finger at anybody else. General Museveni, this was your duty. You failed yourself. You cannot blame anybody. I heard him one time say that these people in the NRM wing failed to mobilize the young people. It was your duty. The reason you went to war was to secure the future of this country. The reason you went to war was to secure the democracy of your 4 children, not for yourself. Unfortunately, you were too much a miser. You were too much egocentric to your person that you delayed in government and you messed up the whole country. You win the accolade of messing up Uganda, because what we had we no longer have, just because of you. The way you messed up the economy, the way you messed up the health sector, it was only true that you could not plan for the young people. General Museveni formed this country with only about 5 million people. He always speaks about an increment in the digits of tax collection, but he forgets to speak about the increment in population. If you're increasing a tax base, it means that it is wider, one, from the collection basket. You've either had more people get more money, but also you have had an increment in population. It was a fact that there was procreation happening in Uganda under your watch. You didn't plan for us. You only assumed to remain in power and die in power such that you would have no answer to anybody else. You assumed to make your life better and that of your children. That is why today you speak about your children instead of speaking about the children of Uganda. You are a disgrace to this country. And that is why the young people all over Uganda must not be the vanguards of his existence. We must be the vanguards of his departure. We cannot be the vanguards of his continued existence. What do we have? What future do we have? He has put us in a position that even us who are here today will not enjoy this country, because there's a lot of hell of work that we're going to do when he's gone. And the more he delays in power, the more challenges we have. As young people, let us not prepare for elections, but let us prepare for a revolution that will finally defeat General Museveni. As young people, let us not prepare for elections, but let us prepare ourselves for a revolution that will defeat General Museveni. Because after his defeat, then elections are very possible and can easily be free and fair. The commitment and the fruits of the Kenyans that you are seeing today, people put down the pangas on the street in 2007. The ICC, the international community, woke up to the news of what was happening in Kenya. They realized that they had to put their say. Kofi Annan was forced to come to East Africa and secure a platform, a deal for existence of peace and the continuity of democracy in Kenya. In Uganda, we are still macerating the dictator. We must rise, and nobody will rise apart from you, the young people. Do not expect anybody to rise on your behalf. The ages of our fathers have been absorbed in fear because of the future. They saw General Museveni coming. He lied to them. They are accustomed to the propaganda of President Museveni, of General Museveni as he was coming to power. When General Museveni was assuming power, our fathers were the backs of his foot as he was stepping to power. So they fear that history. He took them to Changwanzi and indoctrinated them with the doctrine of fear that he was the Alpha and Omega, the unbogable. Now the young people, you did not witness that propaganda. You have seen the real Museveni, that he is a weak man, that he is a coward, that he cannot stand on his word. You young people have had that opportunity our parents never watched. You have had the opportunity to undress him and even bring his name to the fore that he had never brought even to the fore. Even when he was leading our fathers 20 years ago, he could not say his Tiwarwa, whatever name it is. But because of you young people researching day and night, coming out with questions, you questioned him and he accepted his name, just like you questioned the credentials of those in his family. So it means if you've asked those questions and they have been answered, whether right or wrong, but people have taken the initiative to answer them, it means we can ask the bigger question. We have only not united to ask that bigger question. And it is our commitment as the young people. We fear death. Everybody fears death. I don't want to die. But at least I want to die when I am sure I have left a legacy behind, just like many other people left legacies behind. Legacies are not made for those that are born in big families. Legacies are made by those who want to fight and fight for the truth. Do you want to fight for the truth? Yeah. If you want to fight for the truth, let's join our hands together. Let us plan every day on an individual basis of what role we can play to unite the people of Uganda, to stand up for once just like they have stood in Southern Sudan, to stand up for once just like they stood in Sudan, to stand up for once just like they stood for the independence struggles, because our country is in the gutter. The elites have sat. You spend a lot of money to make sure that you have a child of your stature. Look, go back and see how much your fathers have invested in your education, but what are they going to reap out of your education? To get a degree, you must have over 50 million shillings now in Uganda. But what is the reciprocate of the 50 million shillings? People finish degrees after spending a lifetime thinking that their hope has been bred in going to school, the 7 years of primary, the 6 years of secondary, the 4 years of degree level, because even the medical students, some of them don't have jobs after they have finished medical school. Then you have some Albertines saying that they are thinking about science students only, and yet they cannot even accommodate the little they have. They want to go to Cuba. You young people have not been thought about. We have not been thought about, and they will not think about us, because now they are thinking about their overstay and their death. You see, the funny thing about death, for the young people it is a rumor. To you now, death is a rumor. You don't understand it, because it strips you of nothing apart from the people you see. But to the old people, death is a reality and an expectation. Therefore, you cannot invest in a person whose expectation is to die. You would rather invest in one who believes it as a rumor and believes can work harder for the existentiality of tomorrow. Let us believe this. Let us work towards being the real change that this country needs. The mindset must change. We are the people to change the mindset. And we can fight. We can fight. They fought when they were our years, and the situation was more worse than we are here today. There was no modern slavery like it is today. There was awakeness of liberation across Africa. Therefore, wherever it rose, there was support from other sister countries. Today, it is difficult for a sovereign country to accommodate rebels unless you have explained to them a lot of ideology. Let it be the duty of us, the young people, to go out and plan. Let it be the duty of the young people to go out and initiate a new methodology of war that will bring and unite Ugandans together. Come to the streets and fight for the cause of having change in their country. Because you people can come up with new ideas that have not been here before. In the 20th century, they found ideas to liberate Africa. If it is hard to use the gun in the 21st century, you have your own gun you can discover to overthrow dictator Museveni. I know to the world that when we started in an election because we needed to seek the mandate of Ugandans to the revolution that we are taking them to. We are not a challenged generation. We know with the vision of our leader, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, the bar is too high for success. That is why everything we do, the bar is too high. And once the bar is too high for success, it also affects your timelines. We can no longer give lots of reasons and explanations of why the dictator is still here, because the candidate and the player we have, we know, can make it in a short time, but he can't do it alone. He can do it with a lot of all of us. Not with politicians, with all of us. We mark our words about politicians because politicians always will do the politics, and we need them to do the politics. But we also need to lay the strategy of the toppling of the dictator. That is where I have much of the gist in today's discussion. As to you, the young people, we can multiply our numbers. The challenges we have are the same. We can multiply our numbers. Let us look at forwarding the message of change. I see the president of tomorrow. I see the prime minister of tomorrow. But it is you now to determine the playing field that will make you president tomorrow. You have an opportunity to determine it now. You have an opportunity to make decisions that will affect your country today as a young person. The energy you have today, you will not have tomorrow. I saw Zake 4 years ago, before he was beaten, the many times he has been beaten. I know out of those beatings that there are certain things he cannot do, but he will never regret what he has been doing because he gave his all. So if he's your leader, then he must be your inspiration. I have seen Honorable Kawi. I knew, I was worried when he was going to be arrested. I knew. Suddenly I thought that he would be arrested on that day because I saw that they were planning something wrong against the National Unity Platform. At Makerere. Why would the Honorable Member of Parliament be at Makerere for guild elections? Would they have any reason why he would be there? But because this cause is for you, the people, not to have status, not to have positions. Because he has no status. He's a member of parliament, but he was in jail beyond the reasonable time. He is supposed to be in jail because they wanted to negotiate his freedom. Why would you negotiate freedom of a member of parliament? If you can negotiate freedom of a member of parliament, then your father, then your mother. Because now I'm talking about freedom of you not being incarcerated. But I'm also sure your parents don't have the health freedom. If your mother got sick and you have to pay 2 million shillings every day, how many of you in this state can afford that? They don't also have the life freedom. They are not sure of tomorrow. Bullets whirl every time, and the head of state will come and tell you those were stray bullets because they are not even in charge of their own personal armory. So you cannot sit back and be satisfied with the status quo when you're a young person. You are digging your own grave. And I am so happy. General Museveni thought that at our time it would be about drinking, it would be about getting AIDS, because he knew that nobody looked at the governance of this country. You are looking at the governance. Just make the numbers. The change we need is coming and is invested in you, the young people. Out of respect and time, I am very humbled that you gave me this chance to speak to you. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. We can bring the change we want to bring if we are committed to the change. If we are committed to the change, do not be committed to the politics, be committed to the change. Those who are committed to the politics end up being committed to the salaries, end up being committed to the status quo, and will end up being comfortable. And I want to applaud Honorable Zake Butevi and Honorable Kawiye for not having received the 40 million that was given to members of parliament. It is nice when young people of our generation, leaders like Honorable Zaka and Honorable Kawiye, are not found in criminality that has been existent at that parliament for a very long time. And as NUP, to the Speaker of Parliament, want to assure you, Madam Speaker, Madam Anita Mong, want to assure you, you will not defeat us even when you are the Speaker of Parliament on corruption. will not defeat us, Madam Anita Among, on the issue of corruption. Your fingers have been proven to be corrupt. Your character is corrupt.
Yes.
We will come after you with no fear. We will come after you with all that we got. But we can assure you, just like we are coming after your boss, you will not sit at the helm of our institution of parliament and make it the way you want it to make. You are the worst speaker we have had, even in the shortest of time we have occupied. You are going to quick occupy that office. We know how you occupied that office. We know that the outgoing speaker was accustomed to a head of a dead body from Masaka because people wanted to occupy that office and do whatever we are seeing today. We know the price of coming after you, that you will lead to people being assassinated, that you have capacity for people to be in prison. But let me tell you, our dear friend, we are coming after you on matters of corruption because you are shaming yourself. Honorable Twaha Kagabo has vindicated the National Unity Platform, Madam Speaker. He's a hero of this country. He has ashamed your mind. You come before the world and say that you are not given the money. They brought the money to you and you brought in your fake IGG. Madam Anita Among, take the bill and say sorry to the country instead of taking us through all the hika-kruka, which does not exist. You are a corrupt official. You have sent him to the Rules Committee and Display Committee. You have sent the Honorable to the Rules Committee that you sent to Honorable Zake. We defeated you about Honorable Zake, and I can assure you we are going to defeat you about Honorable Twakagabu because you are corrupt. You can go ahead and sit with your Norbert Mao because you brought him to interpret for you the Constitution in a fake manner and to deregister NUP, but we are coming after you for the act of having Uganda lost 22 billion shillings under your watch that you gave out at your sitting room around where you stay in Kololo. And these things have evidence. Let them bring the footage of members of parliament sneaking there in Gomesis. There is footage. We pay for cameras. It was a crime by the speaker to be corrupt and give a bribe. Madam Anita, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of your history. You are supposed to resign because of your criminal act of stealing, of touching, of working, and of being corrupt with Ugandan taxpayers' money, accruing to over 22 billion shillings that you gave to members of parliament. And the evidence is now clear because somebody has returned that money. To other members of parliament, we can only pray that the demons that possess you when you are picking that money, possess you again to return it. And for us here at the National Unity Platform, we know we have our court. We have the court of the people. Our cases go to the court of people. And our court sits. People think that they don't sit. They sit. Did the court sit in Kawempe? Did the court sit in Kawempe? It will sit even in your other constituencies for you who have not returned the money. For God and my country.